My name's Alex Manolita, and this is my film industry presentation. I'll be doing it on the financial impact of critical success in cinema. So I'll be looking at how critical success impacts the amount of money a film makes. Here is the list of the highest grossing films of all time that I got off Wikipedia. As you can see, Avatar is number one with 2.7 billion, and Titanic is second. It was peaking at number one for a very long time, and not many people thought it would get taken down, but it did. As you can see, all these films but Titanic are part of a franchise series, showing that there's a correlation between those kind of films and money making in the industry. Highest grossing films of all time adjusted to inflation. This is from list was taken in 2017, again from Wikipedia. As you can see, Avatar is no longer first. It's taken by Gone with the Wind with a 3.7 billion worldwide gross. All these films are standalone or the first of many in a series. Now let's look at some of these films in more detail. I'll be looking at user score, Metacritic score, notable awards, and financial success. The five films I'll be looking at are Avatar, Titanic, Jurassic World, Gone with the Wind, and The Sound of Music. Here we have Avatar. This came out in 2009 and it was revolutionary because of its CGI usage. It's got IMDb user score of 7.8, Metacritic score of 83 out of 100. Those two in itself are quite good. Definitely in the top percentage of films that are out there. Not many reach these kind of ratings. It made 2.6 billion pounds worldwide with 9 Academy Award nominations and 3 wins. That shows that there's a positive correlation between critical and financial success for this film, as it got really good critical scores with 83 out of 100 and made a lot of money, 2.6 billion pounds. Next film we have is Titanic from 1997. This film is rated at 7.8 on IMDb, same as Avatar, and it's also made by the same director, David Cameron. Metacritic score 75 out of 100, which is just slightly less, but still seen as really good, with a 1.75 billion pound worldwide gross. It won 11 awards and was nominated for 14, and these are Oscars, of course. It broke so many records that year. No one expected this film to be what it was, and even today it's remembered by many. There's a positive correlation between critical and financial success once again. Here we have in 2015 Jurassic World. With a user score of 7 and a Metacritic score of 15 out of 100, this is the worst rated film so far. However, it still made 1.33 billion pounds at the worldwide as a worldwide gross, and it didn't win any Academy Awards or get any nominations. So this just shows that the film doesn't have to be overly good and well received in order for it to make money. This shows a negative correlation between critical and financial success. However, here we have Jurassic Park, its original father. This is where the whole series started from. This film, directed by Steven Spielberg, has an 8.1 user score on IMDb with a 68 Metascore, which is slightly better than Jurassic World, the newest rendition of it. It also won 3 Academy Awards for Best Sound, Best Effects and Sound Editing, and Best Effects Visual Editing. Visual effects, rather. It made $1 billion worldwide from a $63 million budget. This just shows that it again links to the fact that when a film is part of a franchise, people are comfortable with the characters and the idea, so they're more likely to go and see it rather than just experimenting with a new idea. Here we have Gone with the Wind from 1939. This has an IMDb user score of 8.2 and a Metacritic score of 97 out of 100. These ratings are the best we've seen so far, and they're impressive if compared with all films in history. It made 2.95 billion pounds worldwide if adjusted to inflation, with 13 Academy Award nominations and 8 wins. This shows a highly positive correlation between critical and financial success, as it got a 97 out of 100 critic score, and it's the highest grossing film of all time. Impact Gone with the Wind had on cinema. William Cameron Menzies won an honorary Oscar or award for outstanding achievement in the use of colour for the enhancement of dramatic mood. Also won a technical achievement Oscar for pioneering the use of coordinated equipment. And it's also deemed the greatest of all films since, based on 2 polls that it's also deemed as one of the greatest films since 1939 based on the 2008 Harris poll and the 2011 survey conducted by NBC News. Next we have The Sound of Music from 1965. This again is a very notorious film that's been, to this day, is seen as amazing, and I'm pretty sure it was the film that sold most VHS tapes. It has an IMDb score of 8 with a Metacritic score of 63 out of 100. This shows a really good user score, showing that audiences liked it, but at the same time, 63 out of 100 is quite a mediocre score, suggesting that some critics might have not loved it as much as audiences did. It made a 2 billion worldwide gross if adjusted to inflation, with 10 Academy Award nominations and 5 wins. So although it wasn't the most critically acclaimed film, it still did really well at the Oscars. There's a slight negative correlation between critical and financial success. However, it's credited as the film that saved 20th Century Fox after the debacle of Cleopatra. And now 20th Century Fox might be purchased by Disney. I'm pretty sure they will be quite soon. What happened with Cleopatra in 1963? As you can see, this film has a 7 user score on IMDb with a 60 Metacritic score. Originally budgeted at $2 million, ended up going for $20 million over budget, said Spiros Skouras, Fox's chairman of board at the time in 1963. From my findings, I later found out that it actually cost $44 million, just over $350 million in today's money. The publicity generated by the high cost of the film and Miss Taylor's near-fatal illness in 1961 reached feverish proportions during the filming in Rome, with Miss Taylor and Mr. Burton conducted a highly publicized romance. And in sequence with all this great publicity this film received, it still lost money. Why? Could it have been because of the below-average critic ratings? As you can see, Slant Magazine, Chuck Bowen gave it a 50 rating, saying that Cleopatra is, disappointingly, neither a visionary masterpiece nor a fascinating catastrophe, but something altogether more banal. An unusually intimate epic that falls very flat. Empire Ian Nathan gave it a 40 rating out of 100. As you can see, the average Metascore is 60, and the average user score on Metacritic is 6.2, so this film really wasn't seen as a great picture. However, it was still very successful at the Academy Awards, being nominated for 10 and winning 4. And in the end, earned a total of $57.8 million, equating to about $477 million in today's American currency, still generating a profit for the production house, even though they were saying that it was going to be the biggest catastrophe of the studio's history. Could the Academy Awards have influenced the way people looked at it and made it more commercial? Key to financial success of a film. Let's take a look at some of the best motion picture Academy Award winners and their box office success. These are some 2015 to 2018 winners on the left-hand side, and some 1960s to 1963 winners on the right-hand side. I used Rotten Tomato to get critical scores for all of these films, and as you can see, all of them are rated as fresh, which is as good as it could get. Here we have Birdman on the left, with the 80 million budget, made 103 back. Spotlight with 20 million made 98 million back. Moonlight with only 1.5 million managed to generate a 55 million revenue. The Shape of Water on a 19 million made about 194, so 10 times what they paid for. If you look at the 1960 to 1963 on the right-hand side, we have Ben-Hur, a classic. 15.9 million made 196 million worldwide. The Apartment, with a budget of 3 million, made a cumulative box office earnings of 25 million. West Side Story, 6 million, made 43 million. And Lawrence of Arabia, with a budget of $15 million, it generated $77 million. This just shows that Academy Awards and critical success will lead to a great amount of financial success in the film. Here we have some Best Motion Picture winners that weren't critically acclaimed. On the left, we have The Greatest Show on Earth, which was recently reproduced with Hugh Jackman as The Greatest Showman. But this film won Best Picture, and as you can see, it's got a 44% Rotten Tomato critic score and a 55% user score. It was released in 1952 with a budget of $4 million, and its box office earnings were $36 million. And it had 2 wins and 5 nominations. Although it wasn't well rated, it still made money. Here on the right-hand side, we have The Broadway Melody, considered as the worst Best Picture winner in the history of Hollywood. It was released in 1929 with a budget of $379,000. Its box office earnings were $4.4 million, once again making money, with 1 win and 3 nominations. As you can see, both of these films have bad critical success, but at the same time, it made money again. So could it be the Oscars that influenced people to be more keen on seeing them? Here we have some critically praised films that flopped at the box office. The Insider from 1999, with Al Pacino, Russell Crowe and Christopher Plummer, has a Metacritic score of 84 and a Tomato Meter score of 92%, nominated for 7 Oscars. Budget $68 million, and its box office earnings were only 60. Here on the right-hand side, we have Children of Men, with Clive Owen, Julianne Moore, Michael Caine, Chiwetel Ejiofor and Charlie Hunnam. This film has an 84 Metascore again, with a 96 Rotten Tomato score. Certified Fresh, nominated for 3 Oscars. Budget $76 million and box office earnings just under 70 million. So both of these films have some of the biggest Hollywood actors in the business, with great directors and great critic ratings, but they still didn't make money. And they were nominated for Oscars, but as you can see, they didn't win any. So that once again could be the reason they might have flopped. Probably not, because just being nominated for the Academy Award gets enough traction. Here we have the top 10 grossing films of 1999 and 2006, which is subsequently the years in which The Insider and Children of Men came out. As you can see, the top grossing movies of 1999, out of all the ones in top 10, most of them are PG or PG-13, and it's the same with the ones in 2006. Out of the top 20 films in these 2 years, only 2 of them are R-rated. This could be the reason that Insider and Children of Men didn't do too well at the box office, because for these years, people were more interested in a different kind of vibe within their film, something a bit more light-hearted and family-friendly. Here we have the critic's opinion. This is Jessie Meller, a film critic / journalist that I managed to have a small interview with, where I could ask her opinion on my subject. Let's see what she had to say.
I think that critical acclaim is still a factor in a film's success. If you notice, well, the way to see that is that film posters still have critics' quotes on them, don't they? And they still have star ratings and stuff like that. And your eye naturally does go to that, especially if you're a film. But when I was at the News of the World, I think it was, so many moons ago, is that I reviewed quite a small art house film, and I can't remember what it's called, and I wish I did. I wanted to make the story a little bit better. And anyway, and I reviewed it and I gave it 5 stars because it was wonderful, and I think it was a foreign language film. It might have been Iranian. It might have been a film called The White Balloon, right? But anyway, wonderful, wonderful film anyway, that is. But the next morning or the next week, I think it was on the Monday or Tuesday, someone from the film distributors called me and said that the sales of that film had gone up or doubled in Woolworths because of my review. And I thought that was lovely. So I'll end on that. So that was probably one of my proudest moments.